Welcome to Movie Slice. Quick, fun recaps of your favorite movies, sharp, funny, and to the point. Hit subscribe and get your perfect slice of cinema. The season Squid Game 3 begins with the contestants who are helping Ji-hun are forced to surrender because their weapons ran out of ammunition. They ask the guards to spare them, but unfortunately the guards kill them one after another, without mercy. Even the artist, the father of the sick girl who entered the game to try to win money for her surgery, is seriously injured. A guard approaches and finishes him off, but secretly tells him to pretend he's dead and close his eyes. They put him in a coffin to move him, but they mark it with a strange sign from the outside to take his organs, meaning he is still alive. We learn that Seo did this because she knew him before entering the game and decided to risk herself to save his life, all for his daughter, not for him. She goes to talk to the guards and pretends to be one of them, agreeing to what they're doing and allowing them to take the bodies they want. But she asks them about the place where they do the surgeries, which surprises them because she had previously refused what they were doing. The guard tells her that since she's one of them now, they're all in the same boat, and he will show her the place. She reassures him that she just needs money and doesn't want anything else, and that she will keep the secret. But in reality, she wants to know the place to try to save the artist and anyone else there. After that, the guards carry a big coffin and return to the rest of the contestants, who are surprised by what happened. They approach it fearfully, and when they open it they're shocked to find Ji-hun inside. They think he's dead, but the girl from the special forces approaches and discovers he's still alive. She asks the contestants to help her carry him to a bed and try to treat his injury. Meanwhile, we see Detective Wong on the ship, discovering that one of the guards has disappeared and starts investigating. But the captain tells him the guard was probably drunk and not in his right mind, and that he probably fell off the ship because the waves were high yesterday. We learned that the captain is a traitor, and actually works for the Squid Game. He was the one who finished off the guard after discovering his secret. He lies to him and tells him that he saw him standing on the ship's rail. Wong wants to look for the guard because he hopes he might still be alive, or at least find his body. The captain gets nervous, and tells him the waves probably swept him away and asks him to forget about it, and continue the mission. Wong starts to suspect him but is forced to listen. We then see the guard's body on the island. Later, Ji-hun is sleeping and dreaming about everything that happened to him and his friends, with the voices repeating in his head. He wakes up terrified and finds the old woman and the rest of the contestants standing in front of him. They help him get up from the bed, but he is devastated by what happened. The first thing he does is look for his friends who were with him on the mission, but he finds none of them, and learns that the game organizers ordered the guards to finish them off before they could escape. He feels guilty because he caused what happened, and starts to go into shock. At that moment, a group of guards enters, presses the vault button, and adds more money, informing them that 35 contestants died because of what happened yesterday, and that 60 players remain alive. The total amount reaches 40 billion. They decide to hold a vote to see if they want to continue the game or withdraw and split the money. Ji-hun breaks down, shouting and asking why he was the only one left alive. He approaches them angrily, puts a gun to his head, and asks them to finish him off, but the guards stop him, return him to his place, handcuff him, and he keeps crying, feeling guilty and unable to forget what happened. The manager watches him on the screen, enjoying breaking his spirit and making him wish for death. He decides to keep him alive to have more fun and see his reaction, whether he will try to be a hero and save the rest of the contestants or give up. Suddenly, they receive a message from the ship's captain, telling him that Wong and his team are close to finding their island. He tried to delay them, but that's all he could do. The manager tells him that if he can't delay them any longer, he should finish them all off. All the games on the island must end first, and everyone must leave. The captain asks what to do with the detective, and he tells him to finish him off too, along with the others, and to make whatever decision is best for the game. He orders him to finish them all if they try to find their location. Then the voting in the game begins. The guards ask Ji-hun to start and choose whether he wants to continue or withdraw, but he is literally in shock, not seeing or feeling anything, lost in his sorrow, unwilling to do anything. He sits on the ground, and the guard gives him a deadline, counting to 10, and when he refuses to participate, they announce that he has abstained from voting, and his vote is not counted. The rest of the contestants start voting. The first one goes, but greed blinds her, and she chooses to continue the game because she still needs money. Meanwhile, the guard goes to talk to the manager, informing him that many guards died in the attack. The manager asks him to replace them with workers and warns him to be careful because he doesn't want any mistakes. He tells him that the game's owners and the rich people are about to arrive to watch the final game. After that, the guards start disposing of the bodies of the dead contestants, putting them in coffins and distributing them. Seo goes with the group that traffics organs to find out where they do it. The guard is impressed by her talent as a professional sniper and asks where she learned that, and why she joined the game, but she refuses to tell him anything, saying she'll tell him what he wants after the game ends and they get out. Back to the contestants. Unfortunately, 41 of them choose to continue the game, and only 18 choose to withdraw, meaning the games will continue. The guard tells them to rest because the new game will start tomorrow. One of the greedy contestants goes to talk to Ji-hun, mocking him that many contestants were eliminated. Shang remains silent. The fortune teller contestant tells him that he is the reason for what happened to his friends who died, and that they are not forgiving him. At that moment, Hong gets angry at her words and can't control himself. He approaches her in anger, grabs her by the neck, and wanted to finish her off, but the other contestants stop him and save her in time. After that, the guards who trade in organs get ready to do the same to the painter. Suddenly, Noelle enters, and they get scared when they see her, but the guard reassures them that she is now with them. He takes off his mask and tells them they must trust each other to get out alive. Noelle is forced to do as they do and also takes off her mask. They are shocked to find out she is a young, pretty girl. The guard asks her to come closer to watch and learn what they are going to do, but suddenly she grabs a weapon and threatens them to back off, or she will finish them. Everyone is surprised by what happened. One tries to attack her, but she gets away from them, shoots one with the gun, and finishes him off. She defeats the second one. She approaches the guard who was bullying her, and angrily shoots him in the head. The only one left alive is the doctor, who begs her not to hurt him, saying they forced him to do it. She asks him to save the painter's life, and threatens that if anything happens to him, the doctor will die too. We go back to the contestants, and it's lunchtime. The guards start distributing food to them. We see the bully, Thanos' friend, and he starts acting as Thanos again, continuing the game as if he took his chain. At the same time, the pregnant girl goes to Shen to eat, but her old lover stops her, and offers her his food. She is surprised by his attention, but knows he is using her. Xian remains sitting silently on the ground, and the contestants feel sorry for him. The old woman goes to talk to him, trying to comfort him, and gives him some of her food and water, asking him to eat, so he can continue, but he refuses, and stays silent. The Special Forces girl comes to apologize for failing to get him ammo, but the old woman's son tells her she did her part and that the cowardly contestant took the ammo, and was too scared to deliver it. Xiang forgives them, but remains silent, and lost in He sees the cowardly contestant eating and gets annoyed, as his friend died because of him. Meanwhile, Wang reviews the map and marks the islands they pass through. Only a few are left. Suddenly the boss's assistant comes in, asks to talk to him, and questions his relationship with the captain, and how he knows him. Wang tells him that he was injured, fainted, and fell into the sea, and the captain found and saved him. But the assistant is suspicious, knowing that Wang heard the shouting yesterday on the ship and, when he went out, saw the captain holding a screwdriver, suspecting that Wang is a spy and the one who killed their colleague. Wang is surprised by what he says but doesn't believe him, saying he trusts the captain because he saved his life. He asks the assistant to go to sleep and not talk about the subject again, apologizing, and the assistant listens to him. Back to Sung, who stays awake all night. When morning comes, the guards wake the contestants. The cowardly young man wakes up and is surprised to see Sung staring at him, feeling embarrassed and hiding his face. It's time for the fourth game, and the contestants go to the game area, but are shocked that the guards hanging the rest of their teammates as a warning to anyone who tries to do the same. The cowardly contestant feels guilty, because he is the reason for what happened to them. Sung keeps staring at him, promising to avenge them. The contestants arrive at the place where they will play, and the guards tell them they will be divided into 2 teams, and ask each one to choose a ball, either red or blue. Unfortunately, the old woman and her son are separated, as are the pregnant girl and her lover. Of course, Sung is the last contestant, and gets the red ball. At the same time, the doctor manages to treat the painter's wound, but tells Noelle his condition is critical, and needs blood, so she tells him to take her blood. Back to the contestants, the guards tell them they will now play hide and seek. The blue team must hide while the red team will search for them within half an hour. For the red team to survive, each must kill one person from the blue team. Everyone is shocked by what they hear, because it means half of them will live, and the other half will die. The guards hand out keys to the blue team, explaining they can use them to open doors and hide inside, but they can't come back out because the door won't close again. At the same time, they give knives and weapons to the red team to use against the blue team. Both teams are scared because the red team will have to kill their friends, and the blue team will try to hide. Before the game starts, the guards give both teams a chance to switch roles with someone else if they want. The contestants are afraid, especially the cowardly one, because Sung is on the red team and has a knife, and they think he will kill him. At this time, Wang decides to start a new search operation, and boards the ship with his guard. He has a new guy with him to help with the search, pretending to be a good captain, and telling him to wear a life jacket. Suddenly Hong gets a call from the assistant who suspects him, telling him about the captain, saying he won't go with him and will search on his own first, warning him to be careful. He goes to meet one of the gang members and learns that their boss died because of the Squid Game, and tells him everything. Back to the contestants. Each one who doesn't like their team tries to find someone to switch with before the game starts. The bully goes to talk to the cowardly young man, telling him he is a coward and won't be able to kill anyone, trying to provoke him and asking him to gather his courage to win the game, warning him that if he remains a coward, he will finish him off himself. The pregnant woman is on the red team, and her lover goes to plead with her, asking her to switch with him, but she refuses. He tells her she won't be able to hurt anyone and that it's better for at least one of them to stay alive. He promises that if she switches with him, he will protect her, finish off all the other contestants, and then look for her and the baby in her belly to protect them. But she feels he's deceiving her and refuses, telling him she's ready to do anything to protect her. At the same time, the old woman's son goes to talk to his mother, asking her to give him the knife and to switch with him, because she's kind. He convinces her to give him the knife so he can defend her. Meanwhile, the contestant tries to switch with Song, but Song looks at him angrily, with rage filling his eyes, and the contestant gets scared by his look, leaves, and runs away. On the other side, the cowardly contestant tries to switch with a girl, promising to protect her and do anything so she can stay alive, as long as she switches with him, but she is nervous and scared. He yells and tells her to hurry up. When he loses hope, he leaves, glancing at his belly and finding someone still looking at him. He gets angry, gathers himself and goes to him, saying, "It's your fault, you made a stupid plan, and they all died because of you." The guard has to pull him away because the game is about to start. He asks the blue team to get ready to hide, and the contestants start entering to look for a place to hide. At that moment, the old woman decides to switch with her son. He asks her to try to hide with the contestants until he finds her and protects her, but she reassures him she'll be fine, telling him she has a secret weapon to defend herself, meaning her hairpin. At the same time, the pregnant girl also believes her lover and goes to give him the knife, deciding to switch with him in exchange for his protection. The contestants enter a maze-like place, and the guards give them 2 minutes to hide before starting the countdown. One of the contestants suggests that instead of hiding, they should look for the exit so they can all survive. They agree and split up, each heading in a different direction to look for the exit. Each has a chain with a key to open the door. The pregnant girl feels tired and can't walk, which makes the old woman feel sorry for her, so she goes to check on her. The Special Forces girl sees them and decides to help them, asking them to come with her so she can protect them. Meanwhile, the bully goes to talk to the pregnant girl's lover, suggesting they cooperate to win. He manages to deceive him with words, and they agree that they need to eliminate 2 people to finish the game, and maybe even more to increase the prize money. The countdown ends, and the guards ask the red team to enter the maze, and Seong is forced to enter with them, filled with anger. He decides to go after the cowardly contestant. At that moment, the artist wakes up, and the doctor is happy he's still alive, but Seon decides to get rid of him so he won't betray her. She puts on the mask to hide her identity so the artist won't recognize her, goes to talk to him, and asks him to listen to her so he can stay alive. She points to the dead guard's mask and asks him to wear it and pretend to be one of the guards so he can get out alive. After that, the red team enters the maze, and the countdown starts. They have to find the blue team within half an hour, so they split up, each going in a different direction to look for them. The old woman's son tries to find his mother to protect her, and Seong tries to find the cowardly contestant to finish him off. The bully takes pills to focus and offers one to the pregnant girl's lover, but he refuses because he wants to stay focused and keep his promise to her. The red team contestants start wandering through the place, which is a huge maze filled with many doors on different levels, upper and lower floors. One of them succeeds in finding a blue team member, enters his door, rejoices, and follows him to finish him off. Seong keeps looking for the cowardly contestant, ignoring everything else, but the contestant is watching him scared, and hides from him. We see the fake fortune teller acting as if she has spiritual powers, with a few people following her. Many contestants believe her and decide to go with her, following her everywhere. The greedy contestant enters a room and tries to open its door with his key, but fails because the doors have 3 shapes: triangle, circle, and square. Each contestant has a key with a specific shape, meaning they need 3 contestants with 3 different shapes to open any door. Suddenly a blue team member enters, tries his key, opens the door, enters and hides. Meanwhile, the strong girl also finds a locked door and tries to open it but fails. She notices that each door has a different symbol: circle, square, and triangle. She decides to use the pregnant girl's key, and it works. The door opens, and they enter. She is happy because each of them has a different key, meaning they can open any door. The old woman and the pregnant girl decide to give her their keys, so she can be the leader and responsible, and they will follow her, trusting her. At that time, Seong manages to find the cowardly contestant and keeps chasing him to catch him. The contestant is scared and tries to escape. Luckily, he finds a door and manages to open it with his key, but it's a fake door, and if he enters, he'll fall from a high place. He gets scared and doesn't know what to do, feeling his end is near, and closes his eyes. Seong looks at his face and notices it's not him, just a contestant, who looks like him with the same hairstyle, so he lets him go. After that, the old woman's son keeps looking for his mother. Suddenly he hears screams and thinks it's her, but the guards announce the number of the contestant who died, and he is relieved it's not her. He meets a red team member and decides to cooperate. The old woman sees him, but doesn't call out, because she's afraid of him. The bully and his partner keep chasing a contestant, and decide to split up to corner him. They succeed in trapping him in a room. The bully knocks him down and takes the knife, intending to kill him. The pregnant girl's lover is forced to save him, and attacks the contestant from behind, but unfortunately, he stabs him in the side. The bully takes advantage and stabs him in the leg, laughs, and approaches to finish him, but his partner stops him, saying if he does that he'll win and leave the game, possibly leaving him behind. They agree to finish him together, so it counts as half a contestant for each, and if they finish off another one, so now both of us have each finished off a contestant, and indeed, they approach the contestant, and hit him at the same time, taking the key from him to open the door. But the bully drops the chain with the pills, and the cowardly contestant finds it and decides to take one. At that moment, one of the red team sees the old woman and her companion, and starts running after them. They try to escape, but unfortunately, the pregnant girl trips on the stairs and injures her leg. However, they refuse to abandon her and take her back. The strong girl decides to protect her with her body and stands in front of her. The red contestant is afraid of her, because she is strong, and offers her a deal: hand over the pregnant girl, or the old woman. But she refuses and decides to fight. Even though he has a weapon, she is skilled in martial arts and manages to finish him off unintentionally. She then goes to check on the pregnant girl, and finds out her leg is broken. She and the old woman have to support her. After that, the greedy contestant and his friend enter a room, but find a member of the red team waiting for them. It's a girl, and the greedy one is forced to sacrifice his friend, pushing him and locking the door, trapping him inside until the female contestant finishes him off. He takes his key and continues on his way. Meanwhile, the bully and his partner chase after the contestants, swinging them around and managing to take out a large number, laughing and enjoying themselves to increase their winnings. The guards announce their success. The pregnant girl hears her lover's name on the loudspeakers and learns he won. She waits for him to fulfill his promise to come and protect her. He keeps entering doors, searching for her to help her, but the bully mocks him, saying if he finds her, he'll finish her off. Her lover gets angry and threatens him, saying if he gets near her, he'll make him regret it, and reveals that the baby she carries is his child, and he'll protect her no matter what. Suddenly they hear a girl scream, and he thinks it's his lover. He runs to her, but finds it's someone else. The bully offers to help him, but only on the condition that they keep killing the remaining contestants, as he enjoys it. They realize that if they do this, the red team will have no one left to kill, and many will lose. So the prize money will increase and their chances of winning will rise. Her lover is convinced and agrees. At this point we see the cowardly contestant running away, but a red team member sees him, corners him, and injures his leg. The contestant pushes him off the stairs, making him hit his head and lose consciousness. He decides to take his knife to defend himself, even though he's injured and bleeding, but he bears the pain. After that, the pregnant girl and her team have to hide in a room because her leg hurts. She feels guilty and asks them to leave her and escape, not wanting to endanger their lives because of her. But the old woman refuses and decides to stay with her, asking the strong girl to leave and find the exit, as they are a burden on her. Less than a quarter of an hour remains until the end of the game, and the strong girl is unsure what to do. Suddenly the pregnant girl feels pain and realizes she's about to give birth. The experienced old woman stays by her side and helps. Meanwhile, her lover is searching for her and notices a door with a blood trail. He decides to enter, but finds a contestant hiding behind the door who begs to be spared. He feels sorry for him and decides to let him go, but the contestant betrays him, attacks him, takes his knife and tries to finish him off. Luckily, a red team member enters and stabs the attacker from behind. At the same time, the old woman helps the pregnant girl give birth, but she keeps screaming from the pain and has to put cloth in her mouth so no one hears her. Meanwhile, the con artist fortune teller is wandering the maze, but keeps returning to the same place. The contestants start to suspect her, but she puts on an act, pretending to talk to good spirits. She goes to a door and tells them it's the exit, but when she opens it she gets scared and runs away. Suddenly, a large number of the red team, along with the bully and the pregnant girl's lover, finish off the people following her. The fortune teller keeps running and bumps into the cowardly contestant. Noticing his injured, bleeding leg, she refuses to walk with him, fearing the contestants will find out his location. So she enters another door, but finds Sam right in front of her. She tries to scare him, threatening to curse him, but he knows she's a fraud and approaches her. She apologizes, admitting she's a liar, and tells him she knows he wants to get rid of the cowardly contestant because he betrayed him and didn't bring the ammunition. She tells him the coward is nearby, bleeding, and if he follows the blood trail, he'll find. He leaves, deciding to go after him and finish him off. The fortune teller is happy to have escaped, but then finds the coward behind her, asking about the pregnant girl's location. She gets scared, thinking he wants to finish her off, and leaves, entering a room where she finds the game exit. She is happy and goes to open it, but discovers that 3 keys are needed: the circle, triangle, and square, meaning she needs 2 others to help her. She goes out to look for them, or for the keys. She finds a dead contestant and tries to take his key, but sees his companion and feels frustrated. She marks the wall with blood to remember the exit location and not get lost in the maze. Meanwhile, the greedy contestant tries to escape, but finds the bully and his partner blocking his way. He's scared and doesn't know what to do, so he lies on the ground, covers his face with blood to look dead, and holds his breath so no one notices. The bully approaches, wanting to stab him to make sure, but his partner calls him away. Afterward, the fortune teller goes to the greedy contestant to take his key, but he opens his eyes, and she is surprised he's still alive. She tells him she knows the exit location, and he decides to go with her, asking if she's sure of the way. She lies, saying, "Of course, I know the way." At that moment, the old woman successfully helps the pregnant girl give birth, and rejoices, telling her she had a beautiful baby girl, reassuring the mother and hugging her, promising to protect her. But suddenly, a red team member enters and takes advantage of the situation, trying to kill her, but the strong girl prevents him and takes him outside to the room, and she argues with him. Unfortunately, the contestant injures her in several places, but she doesn't give up and endures the pain. She pushes him into another room, hits him, and takes the knife from him. She manages to finish him off, and one of the red team sees her, but he's afraid of her, leaves her, and runs away because he knows she's strong and can't stand against her. Coincidentally, that room turns out to be the exit. The strong girl tries to open the door with the 3 keys she has, and she actually succeeds, and is happy. She can't believe it, but she doesn't agree to leave alone. She decides to go back to the old woman and the mother and asks them to come with her so they can escape. But suddenly, the girl's lover comes from behind her, and unfortunately, he tricks her and stabs her in the back several times until he finishes her off. He doesn't know that she was the one who saved his beloved, the one who sacrificed her life for her. He is surprised when he sees the child and is happy to become a father. The bully is afraid he will hurt her, so he closes the door on them and tells them that there is no one left, and leaves them and walks away. The old woman cries for the strong girl, hugs her, thanks her for everything she did for them, and says goodbye to her, breaking down in tears. She has to take the keys from her so they can leave the game and tells the girl they must escape quickly. At that moment, the mother reaches the exit and manages to open the door. She thinks they are finally safe, but the greedy contestant, as usual, betrays her, pushes her, takes the key, goes in, and closes the door behind him. She yells at him, keeps pushing him, and tells him that the souls will take revenge on him. Because of that, the cowardly young man hears her, knows where she is, and comes in after her. He's hallucinating, and not in his right mind. He says he took a pill, and imagines that she is the bully who always mocked him. He gets angry, and without realizing it, stabs her in the stomach, and manages to finish her off. When he realizes what he's done, he collapses, and sits on the floor crying. At that time, Song finds the traitorous contestant, follows him into the room, and decides to finish him off. But the contestant is afraid, keeps crying, apologizes, and confesses that he's a liar. "I never joined the army before, nor was I a Navy soldier. Everything I said was a lie." He asks Song to forgive him, and Song feels sorry for him and was about to leave him. But the contestant betrays him, attacks him, and hits him with the knife he was holding. He says, "You are the reason this happened," and decides to finish him off. But Song defends himself, hits him, makes the knife fall from his hand, and the contestant tries to escape. Song pushes him down the stairs and runs, but the contestant reaches the fake room and is cornered by Song. They start fighting. Song hits him, breaks his bones, and knocks him to the ground. He decides to take revenge, gets closer, and keeps strangling him until he finishes him off. Meanwhile, the old woman manages to reach the room with the exit, but suddenly her son comes in. He wants to finish off the game with her, but his mother stops him, tells him that she's just given birth and the child needs her, and decides to sacrifice herself for him. She asks him to finish her off instead so he can win the game, continue, and live. Both of them keep crying, but he refuses, and pushes her away. He attacks the girl before she can leave and decides to kill her. He hears the baby crying and feels sorry for her, apologizes, and realizes he has to do it. But suddenly, his mother comes from behind and uses the secret weapon she told him about. He is surprised by what happened and asks her to get out quickly, but she refuses, and decides to stay with him. The half hour ends, and now any contestant who is escaping will live, and any contestant who tried to kill someone but didn't succeed will die. The old woman's son is taken by the guards. They say goodbye to him, and they start carrying out all the dead people and putting them in coffins. But one of the red team was hiding, attacks a guard to take his weapon because he couldn't finish off any of the blue contestants. But another guard comes from behind and finishes him off. When they take off the masks, it turns out they are foreigners, and we learn that these are the rich owners of the game. They are the special guests who came to participate in the game themselves and decided to join in so they could kill the losing contestants and enjoy it even more. After that, the contestants who won the game return to their accommodation, but the bully notices that his necklace is missing and asks his partner about it, but he refuses to answer because he's worried about his lover and waiting for her to arrive so he can make sure she's safe first. The bully gets angry and wants to go out to look for the necklace, but the guard stops him and threatens to kill him if he thinks about coming back. The bully is forced to go back and doesn't know what to do because he needs the pills and doesn't know they're with the cowardly young man who always mocks him and says he's weak. At that time, the girl arrives with the child, and her lover is happy when he sees her and is relieved that she's still alive. The guards come in and congratulate the contestants who won and tell them that 25 players succeeded and are still alive. They announce the prize amount, which is 42 billion, and asks them to choose whether they want to continue the game or withdraw. At that time, we see the owners of the game sitting together, wearing animal masks to represent their real personality. They are happy because it's the first time in a long time that they've enjoyed the game this much since they participated in it. They keep competing with each other, each telling the other what he did, and talk about the contestants as if they were animals with no value. Meanwhile, Huang and his team are still searching the island, and decide to use a drone to monitor everything at sea. Suddenly, they get a message from the assistant, who tells him he was right. He tells him he asked the fisherman about the captain, and no one knows anything about it. Huang is surprised, starts to suspect, and decides to keep an eye on him to make sure if he's a spy or innocent. We go back to the contestants, and they start voting. Each one chooses whether they want to continue or withdraw. The old woman decides to vote, and says she doesn't want to continue because she doesn't want anyone else to die like her son did. She tells them she's not afraid for herself, she's lived a long time, but the child and her mother must live. Unfortunately, no one is convinced by her words, and they all refuse because they're greedy and want to increase the money again, so they choose to continue the game. When it's Song's turn, he refuses to vote like last time, but his vote doesn't matter, and the guards announce that the game will continue and asks them to sleep. The rich people are watching and laughing at the old woman's words because to them she has no value. At that time, the guards discover what happened in the operating room, and find out that some guards died, but they think the doctor did it, because they didn't find his body and think he stole the organs and escaped. Afterwards, the old woman goes to give her food to the child. Her mother asks them to eat well so she can breastfeed her daughter and take care of her. The girl keeps crying and feels guilty, thinking her son died because of her, but the old woman tells her it's not her fault and asks her not to think about anything except the child. At that moment, the game manager returns to his room but finds Sighing waiting for him. She threatens him with a weapon, and demands that he let her and the artist leave the game safely. She tells him that if he doesn't, she'll ruin the game and the rich people won't like it. He admires her cleverness, and is forced to agree. Meanwhile, Inji sees an island, and feels he's been there before. He asks the captain to approach it with the ship. When they arrive, he remembers what happened there when his brother hit him, and he realizes it's the island with the game. He informs his team and decides they'll search it when morning comes. At night, the old woman goes to check on the child, then talks to Jae-hoon, trying to comfort him. She asks him to forgive himself because he's not to blame, and tells him the people behind the game are responsible for everything, as her son was good but they turned him into a monster so she had to end his life. Jae-hoon is surprised by her words, and feels sorry for her because he understands her, but she asks him to help the child and her mother, saying, "I trust you and I'm sure you're here to save us all." He's touched by her words, but apologizes, knowing that unfortunately, he too has turned into one of the monsters, having killed one of the players and become a criminal. The next morning, the guards wake up early to prepare for the new game. Cyan goes to breakfast and finds the key to the boat in the food so she can escape, sent by the game manager as they agreed. The guards then enter the contestants' room with a coffin. They're surprised and wonder who died, only to discover the old woman has died. The child's mother keeps crying, blaming herself and her son for her death, and Ji-hoon feels guilty for refusing to help her. Meanwhile, the assistant decides to go to the captain's house to investigate. He searches the house and finds a photo of the captain with the person who distributes the game cards. He's shocked and realizes the captain is a spy. He decides to warn Hwang, but suddenly the guard dog attacks him. It's fierce and bites his hands. He struggles in pain and is forced to kill it. When he leaves, he finds the police waiting for him. The neighbor had called and reported a break-in, so he's arrested. Back in the game, the guards ask the contestants to get ready for the 5th game and take them along. The mother feels tired and doesn't know what to do. Ji-hoon decides to fulfill the old woman's wish and helps the mother by taking the child to protect her. The rich spectators watch, excited, each betting on which contestant will survive, eager for the new game. The mother keeps crying, worried about her daughter, but Ji-hoon, who also has a daughter, reassures her that he'll protect the girl even if he has to sacrifice himself. They reach the place for the new game and find a long bridge set high up, with huge statues on both sides. The guards tell them it's a jump rope game. The statues start moving the rope quickly, and the contestants realize they have to keep jumping over the rope, move forward and leap over the obstacle in the middle to reach the other side. Ji-hoon decides to help the mother, and asks her to leave the child with him until the game is over, promising to return her afterward. But the guard refuses, and they learn the child is also a participant. If she stays behind, she'll lose. The countdown starts, and the mother begs Ji-hoon to take the child with him, because she's injured and can't jump. We notice the bully is scared and crying because he can't live without the pills he used to take. He goes to the weak young man, shows him the chain, and learns the pills have been with him all along. He threatens to throw him off the bridge. The bully gets scared and begs for forgiveness, but the young man throws him onto the bridge and makes him go first. The bully has no choice but to do it. He keeps jumping until he reaches the chain and is happy, deciding to take the pill but is shocked to find it's empty. Time freezes for him and he can't jump anymore, so the rope hits him and he falls. Then Ji-hoon gets ready, carries the child, and promises her mother he'll reach the other side and come back to help her. He stands on the bridge and starts jumping. Though it's difficult, he endures to save the child, continuing until he reaches half. But there's a gap in the bridge and he must jump over it. Everyone is tense and nervous, and he struggles to gather his courage and balance himself because of the child he's carrying. Everyone is anxious, waiting for the right moment. He manages to cross, continues to the end, and everyone is impressed by his skills and encouraged to follow his example. As long as he succeeded while carrying the little girl, they too will be able to succeed like him. John keeps trying to leave the girl to go help her mother, but he finds the contestants on the bridge, which means he can't meet them and has to wait until they pass. He's forced to wait until they're done, and indeed, one of them manages to reach the end. He pretends to help the others, but turns out to be a traitor. Anyone who comes near him, he pushes them off to get rid of them, and win the prize alone, planning to split it between himself and John. Our hero is shocked by his behavior and asks him why he's doing this, but he tells him that if everyone dies, it'll be just the two of us, and then we can choose to withdraw from the game, and split the money equally and become rich. He keeps laughing a lot, and anyone who gets close to the end, he pushes them off and finishes them. The contestants are afraid of him. He keeps pushing them around and they don't know what to do. They all stand on the bridge for a long time, and because of that, a large number of them start falling one after another. One tries to go back but bumps into the one behind him, so they both. A girl manages to go back, scared and not knowing what to do, but one of the contestants pushes her and she falls. So anyone who tries to reach or return, their life will be in danger. John is forced to intervene and threatens the contestant to let them pass, or else he'll push. The contestant is scared and obeys, and the contestants standing on the bridge start to cross to the other side before time runs out. The little girl's mother tries to prepare herself and is the only one left, practicing jumping, but she falls because she's injured in her leg. Her lover comes to her and says he wants to help her, but she refuses, blaming him for killing the strong girl. She tells him she saved her life and shows him her legs, letting him know she's injured and asks if he's ready to carry her. Her lover is surprised because he can't do that. He cries, decides to abandon her, leaves and walks away. John tries to go back to her, but one of the contestants attacks him, wanting to push him off the bridge, but John is tough and knocks him out, then pushes and throws him off. He tells the remaining contestants to cross, and they all do. The weak young man is left, not conscious, imagining the statues are talking to him, but he focuses and manages to. Then it's the girl's lover's turn, but a contestant gets in his way, asks for help, but he refuses, and steps on his hand. keeps jumping until he reaches the end. Less than a minute is left, and John tries to go back to the mother, but she refuses and asks him not to, saying if he does, time will run out and they'll both die. She tells him she doesn't want anyone else to die because of her, asks him to take care of her daughter and protect her. She slowly approaches the edge, crying, stands, and decides to jump, not wanting to be a burden on him. She's gone, time ends, and the game ends. John is shocked by what happened and feels helpless. The rich people are amazed by what happened but want to get rid of the child because, unfortunately, her mother died. But the game master convinces them to let her continue in her mother's place because that will increase the game's mortality rate. They agree, and the guard goes to the contestants, congratulates them for succeeding in the game, tells them there are 9 players left. The contestants are surprised, thinking there are 8, but he points to the child and tells them she's competing with them, and that she will continue the game in her mother's place. The contestants get angry because now she'll share the money with them. They wanted to get rid of her, but John hugs her to protect her, and the guard threatens them with a gun, telling them from now on violence is not allowed in the final rounds, and anyone who causes trouble will be punished. Meanwhile, we see the assistant at the police station telling the officer everything about the game and the gang after being arrested, and they learn that the captain is one of them. They show him his clothes, but the officer doesn't believe him, thinks he's a thief and decides to call the captain to report that someone tried to rob his house. But the assistant grabs his phone and calls Huang to warn him, telling him the captain is one of the game's guards and asking him to be careful, as the captain is planning to finish them off. Huang is shocked by what he hears and tries to arrest him, but unfortunately the captain is faster, takes his weapon, finishes off the guards on the ship. The game invites the contestants to dinner, makes them wear suits, serves them lots of food. Even the child is given milk by the guard since she's reached the end of the game. They eat and drink, and when they're done, the guard asks them to choose if they want to continue the game or withdraw with the money. But the most important thing they need to know before withdrawing or choosing to continue is that the next game is a preview. The 3 of them will decide among themselves who they want to get rid of. Now greed blinds them all, and they decide to form an alliance to get rid of John, the child, and the crazy poor boy who's lost in the world, not understanding what's happening. Of course the contestants choose to continue, so the guard announces the game will continue. At this time Xion takes the artist and boards the boat, thinking she's escaping from the island, but the game master calls her, warns her to return, or he'll finish off the artist's daughter in the hospital. She's scared and forced to return, but she gets off alone, and the artist realizes his daughter is in danger, tells him to go without her and save her. All this time he doesn't know who she is, but unfortunately the game master had already sent guards to the boat, and orders them to finish him off. Afterwards, the contestants who chose to continue agree to cooperate to get rid of John and the child. John has to stay awake at night to protect her. Suddenly one of the guards comes in and tells him the game master wants to talk to him, takes him to meet him. There, he tells him he wants to help him, gives him a knife, and asks him to get rid of the contestants while they're asleep before they do. John is surprised and asks why he's doing this. The game master removes his mask, and John is shocked to see that he's contestant number 1, whom he thought was dead. He holds the knife, wanting to strike him, but the game master tries to calm him, telling him that even if he kills him, the game won't stop and someone else will take his place. He asks him to listen and get rid of the contestants, or else his life will be in danger, and leaves him. John goes to the contestants while they're asleep and approaches them. Then, we see a flashback of the same scene being repeated, when the game master was a contestant like him, and the old man offered him the same deal he just offered John to end the game. Now will John make the same decision and end the game, or will he continue and be different? He keeps watching him, wanting to see what decision he'll make, remembering his memories. At that time, the same situation, but this time he's the one who decides to finish them off, and he wants Jahoon to become a criminal like him. But at that moment, Batna imagines his friends who died in front of him, asking him not to do it because he's not a criminal. He actually takes back his words, throws away the knife while crying. At the same time, the game master looks at him regretfully, wishing Batna had become a criminal like him, and regretting that he himself became a criminal and didn't do what Batna did. Meanwhile, Xion climbs the mountain until she reaches the ventilation opening, goes in, and keeps walking, clearly planning something dangerous. On the other side, Huang is getting close to the island but suddenly hears the game master's voice on the walkie-talkie, asking him not to do this because he's putting his life in danger. Then, he returns to the control room but finds Xion waiting for him, threatening him with a weapon and telling him to listen to her. She forces him to delete the artist's records from the game, to protect him so no foreigners can reach. He does it, but then finds out there's another copy of the files hidden in a secret place, paper files. She's forced to go with him to get them, but when they get in the elevator, he attacks her, tries to take her weapon and they keep fighting. She tries to hit him but he's stronger, manages to block all her attacks, knocks her to the ground, and breaks her jaw. He gets close to kill her, but she hits him, jumps on him and tries to stab him, but he uses his cup and defends himself. He starts showing charisma, leaves her lying on the ground, and goes to have a drink. He tells her, "I feel you, because I also lost someone dear to me." He gets close, and stabs her in the stomach. Suddenly, he gets a call on the walkie-talkie from the guard, telling him he must start the last game. He tells him to start and sees Seon crawling on the ground, laughs at her because she can't open the elevator, but then realizes she has his. She runs at him, manages to reach the elevator before him, takes the weapon and shoots at him. At that moment it's over for him, because he underestimated her. The contestants were with the guards to start the last game. They get into an old-looking elevator, surrounded by rocks and high cliffs, and they're going to climb one of the mountains. They find out the last game is called Heavenly Squid, which consists of 3 stages, each in a different place, and the round is on a square shape. They must push one of them to move to the next stage, and of course whoever falls loses and dies. The game starts and they have 15 minutes. To start, they must press the button that appears on the ground. Unfortunately, they all agree on Jahoon because he's carrying the child, and they approach him laughing, but then change their minds because if they do that, they'll get rid of 2, so their alliance will be forced to sacrifice one of them. They decide to push the weak, lost young man, but they're all scared and no one dares come near him, because he might pull one of them with him, and then 2 will fall. But the child's father uses his wits, gets next to him by the pillar, and decides to push him. He grabs his hand, pulls him, and actually takes him down. At that moment, the young man imagines all his friends who died in front of him, and they're waiting for him, and he goes to them. Thus, they finish the first round, and qualify for the second stage. They all pass, and reach the second stone, which is triangle-shaped. They all agree to get rid of the child, because she has no one, and ask Jahoon to hand her over, telling him not to worry because her mother is dead, and her father is unknown. Of course you and I know, but it was hidden so no one would know. But he refuses because he promised to protect her, holds her tight. Meanwhile, we see the artist on the boat. The guards start chasing and shooting at him. He tries to defend himself, but runs out of ammo, loses hope, and feels his end is near. Suddenly, Hongi arrives just in time, shoots the guards, finishes them off, saves his life and also finds out the location of the island. Back to the contestants, they try to take the child by force. Someone tries to snatch her, but Jahoon uses the knife he took from the game master, injures him and threatens to finish him off if he comes near. Suddenly the child's father comes from behind, pushes the other contestant, knocks him out, and Batna realizes he's on his side and that he's the child's father. Everyone finally understands what he was doing. Everyone is surprised because they didn't know he was her father, and he decides to stand with Jahoon and protect her. The remaining contestants are scared because they have weapons and attack them. A big fight breaks out. Batna has to protect the child, hits one of them, and at the same time, the child's father pushes another and knocks him down. 2 are left. The greedy contestant tries to trick them, says he'll split the money, and there's a guy lying on the ground, tells him to grab Delina, but the child's father refuses because he doesn't trust him and pushes him too, finishing him off. Time runs out, the round ends, and they qualify for the final stage. They decide to leave one contestant to sacrifice, but he tells them, "Do you think I don't know what you're planning?" Now only the 2 of them and the child are left, which means one of them must die in the 3rd round. At this time, Hwang manages to save the artist, treats his wound, finds out he was a contestant in the game, and the artist tells him everything he wants. Hwang decides to go to stop the game and save Jahoon, but unfortunately they've already reached the final stage. They torture the child on the other side first, but grab the pillar and stop Jahoon from crossing the bridge, tell him to hand over the child, and whoever pushes them both wins. One of the 3 should survive, and whoever goes, the other 2 win. Hwang realizes he did this to sacrifice her in the final stage, and win all the money for himself. The child's father doesn't want to let him pass, asks him to leave the child and go back. He starts to do so, but as he's going back, he manages to take his knife, pretends to surrender, and leaves him on the bridge. But before time runs out, and the bridge disappears, he jumps quickly to the other side. He grabs the knife and decides to kill him. They start fighting. The young man tries to hit him, but Sion is stronger, pushes him, knocks the pillar from him, hits him. The young man realizes he's going to lose the fight, grabs the child, and tells him to stay back. Sion starts to step back, throws the but he has experience in fighting, and he immediately takes off his jacket to protect himself, before he grabbed the knife. Suddenly, both of them stumble, and he was about to fall, but Sion manages to grab onto a rock and hangs on, trying to pull the young man up, but his hands sling, and unfortunately he dies. However, one succeeds in climbing back up, and the rich people are watching from afar, happy and amazed by his determination and persistence. At this time, Sion arrives at the island, but she is late. We learn that Sion burned all the contestants' files because she realized this place is a source of corpses. Previous contestants had entered here as slaves. She decided to erase all their pasts, so they could run in peace. She gets upset, and even decides to end her own life, but then she sees Sion on the screen, carrying the child, and remembers that he is supposed to fly her away, all this just to win the game, but he didn't press the button, which means they haven't activated the final The child must press the button to activate it. He hugs her, bids her farewell, and is happy that he was able to fulfill his promise. He says to the organizers, "We are not entertainment tools. We are humans like you." Everyone is surprised by what happened. For the first time, someone has reached this stage and given up everything. The game ends, and the guards learn that the police are close to reaching the island, so they decide to destroy everything and escape. But the game master is still there, and decides to go and take the child who won. At the same time, Huang manages to reach the island, and finds his brother. He sees him through the glass, and breaks it, tries to stop him, but can't do anything, and realizes the place is no longer safe, so they decide to escape too. The guards board the ship, and the cars and escape the island. After that, they activate the detonation device and destroy the place. 6 months pass since that day, and we learn that No-Wheel decided to live after seeing Sang sacrifice himself. She returns to the amusement park where she used to work, and sees the painter and asks him to draw her too. He feels like he knows her, but she refuses to tell him that she is the one who saved him, and is the reason he's with his daughter. She sees her little daughter after she had surgery, and recovered, and she is happy and gives her sweets, then leave. But suddenly, she receives a call from the person she asked to look for her daughter, the one she entered the game for, the one she thought had died and that she had no one left in life for, so she decided to participate. But it turns out her daughter is still alive and in China. She is shocked and decides to go look for her. After that, Wang goes to wait for the assistant after he got out of prison. We learn that he resigned from the police. He returns home, and finds the child with the game card, and it says she is the winner. Next to the card is a Visa card with all the billions, and he learns that his brother is the one who sent it to him, the one Sang had hidden the money with. But he is surprised that it has disappeared and is confused, not knowing who took it. It turns out that the game master is the one who took it, and traveled to America. He goes to Sang's daughter and tells her that, unfortunately, her father sent her this box. She says she doesn't want anything from him, and that she has been waiting for his call for a long time, but he never sent her anything. He tells her, "Your father passed away, and I came to give you his last possessions." At that moment, she stands there in shock. He gives her the box and leaves. She goes inside, still in disbelief, opens the box and finds her father's suit, his number, and the Visa card with all his possessions. He leaves her, and goes away. But on the way, he sees a woman playing with cards. It's Squid Game, but the American version. She looks at him and laughs, which means the game is still going on, but this time in America. The series ends here. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel,